In the championship for Susie last year, and her car in the pit lane as the rest of the cars go off on their formation lap. So of course, clearly as soon as we can, we will find out exactly what the problem is with Susie Stoddart's car. We just saw the back of Raoul Frey's glamour machine, so she has got away okay right at the back of the grid as the rest of the cars come on through now, and we focus on Tom Christensen, the all-yellow Audi, car number 9. And now look at the end of the start-finish straight, that really, really tight left-hander. As we give you the grid once again, Spengler from green, Ekstrom, Tomczyk, Gary Paffett, Oliver Jarvis, Tom Christensen, Felipe Albuquerque, then it's Timo Scheider, Christian Viatores is 10th on the grid, as some more wonderful shots from our heli can show you all the way around this Eurospeedway. Miguel Molina, grid 11, then it's Mortara, Van der Sande, Stoddart. Well, we will see, because we saw Stoddart's car, and there indeed is Susie Stoddart's car in the pit lane. And they don't look as furious as I thought they would working on that. Huge crowd here at the Eurospeedway, and a big race in prospect, which yet the weather could play a part. So here indeed is the track. The lap record was set in 2008 by Paul di Resta, he of DTM fame and of course now Formula One star. 3.4 kilometers, 52 laps the race distance, and the pit window from lap 13. Susie Stoddart out of the car then. Hugely disappointed, and pats of commiseration to her team members. So clearly, whatever is wrong with the car is terminal. So track temperature 27.5 degrees, air temperature 18. Very windy here at the Eurospeedway, and as I said, the wind playing a part in hopefully keeping the rain away. But there you can see it in all its glory, if that be the right word, as Dr. Ulrich there and the team from Audi. Watch Tomczyk, there's Norbert Haug settling back. All eyes on the screens and all eyes on the start of this race. So cars all lined up, then we await the green flag from the marshal at the rear. And there is our pole man, Spengler. Let's go racing. It is the 4th round of the 2011 DTM. And away we go. So Spengler it is that covers. And Spengler that leads into that very tight turn. Keeping an eye on the rest of the grid here, because that's where it will get very packed. So Ekstrom, a loser there, back to 5th position. Spengler green, then Tomczyk. So keeping an eye on this, 52 laps of this race to be done. And some of the fantastic onboard imagery that we can give you here as we look back. But Spengler dominating so far in the first lap. Got a good start, covered his way into the tight turn 2. As the rest of the cars come flowing through. This, the 4th round of the 2011 DTM. We're live from the Laschitz Ring, and that is where they get oh so close as they rejoin what is the original tri-oval here at the Eurospeedway. The sound of these cars as they cross the start-finish line now on the home straight. It's Spengler from green, from Tomczyk. Gary Paffett is 4th, Ekstrom 5th, Christensen 6th, Jarvis 7th, and Scheider is 8th. So then the Mercedes domination then at the qualifying to put them 1 and 2 on the grid. Maintained at the start of this race. Although all eyes on Tomczyk as he is reeling in Jamie Green. So Spengler, Green, Tomczyk, and we go on board with Tomczyk now. Right on the back bumper of Jamie Green. Jamie Green currently second. And there you can see the gap between the two. Now Tomczyk will be very, very interested in trying to get on terms as early as he possibly can. And we see the replay there. But back to this, in the opening stages of this race, it's the battle for second place. Spengler is leading. Then it's Jamie Green. And just look at the bumps on the surface of that home straight. The cars, the front enders, Tomczyk dives and makes it stick. So Tomczyk goes through into second place. Now Green fights back. But as I said, Tomczyk was going to doubtless have a go as early on as he possibly could. So we're on board with Jamie Green. So Martin Tomczyk then, from fourth on the grid, is now second on the track. And now Green is coming under some pressure from Paffett. And Jarvis has got past Ekstrom as well, so just keeping an eye on Gary Paffett here. And that's how Tomczyk did it. Absolutely brilliant move into that tight left-hander. And let's see it from on board the car and see just how close these cars get. Absolutely supreme. Good effort from Tomczyk there. And Green under some pressure now from Paffett as well, as we see Oliver Jarvis then. And his move. So Spengler it is now from Tomczyk, Green and Paffett. Then it's Jarvis, Ekstrom, Scheider and Christensen with Molina, Albuquerque, Mortara, Engel, Vitoris, Coulthard. So back onto the original part of off of turn one of what was the tri-oval here, and Spengler really is building up quite a cushion, maybe 7 or 8 car lengths now, as we're with Oliver Jarvis, currently 5th. Oliver Jarvis really pushing hard and trying to reel in Paffett. You can see there the just under 7/10 the gap. And then further back, we can see Christensen and Scheider. We go on board with Ralf Schumacher. Schumi currently running at 15th, on board with him. Let's see how he really punishes and pushes this car. So back up front we go then. Spengler, Tomczyk, Green, Paffett, Jarvis. Then Timo Scheider. Oh, back on board with Ralf Schumacher as he gets a bit of a lift off the runoff there, just onto the curb. So Schumacher with Coulthard in the all-yellow machine right in front of him. You can just see into shot now. And Schumi really giving that car something, though he's down there in 15th. So then there we have the second and third from our heli. Tomczyk and Green. And Tomczyk now some 7/10. The gap between Tomczyk and Green. Spengler off into the distance in the lead. And the gap now 1.1 seconds. Bruno Spengler desperate now to increase that as much as he can. This is Oliver Jarvis battling in 5th place, but trying so hard to get a 4th. Just over 4/10 is what the advantage Gary Paffett has over Oliver Jarvis currently. There's Paffett, there's Jarvis. And there into the 5th lap of 52, you can see Jarvis Certainly not close enough to have a challenge by any means, but he is ever conscious and ever keen to get on terms, if he can, with Paffett. So Oliver, by his own admission, a little bit disappointed with qualifying when I spoke to him at the end of quali yesterday. And I just thought for a moment then he was going to be close enough. Really, really late braking got him as close as he possibly could, but the speed scrubbed off, and Paffett with the better line. So there, the gap between Paffett and Jarvis. And let's see a replay of the start, textbook stuff from Bruno Spengler. Brilliant effort from Gary Paffett, though, in the start, as he gets right alongside, and you can see just how wide they go off of that extremely tight turn one. Long way round that outside, though, and just lifting off over the curbs on the runoff area, and it will be great to see from this on board just how fraught and close these DTM monsters are. And team applauding the efforts. So back to the race then. Spengler from Tomczyk. Then it's Green, then it's Paffett, then it's Jarvis. So Jarvis, nothing like as close as he was. And now, arguably, Timo Scheider beginning to reel Jarvis in. So that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with Scheider then. Timo Scheider taking a fourth in Hockenheim so far this year, perhaps now beginning to reel in Oliver Jarvis, and we go on board with Oliver Jarvis as once again we are looking at what is the back of Gary Paffett's car. Paffett with a good start, and Jarvis now knows that he needs to be on terms. That's where they come off the inner part of the road circuit and onto the original tri-oval. Spengler, Tomczyk, Green, Paffett, Jarvis, Scheider, Ekstrom. Then it's Christensen in 8th place. Back with Ollie Jarvis we go. And looking back, you can see just how close this fight is. And absolutely within millimetres of the wall as they try and get everything they can. And Timo Scheider, who may be just waiting for Jarvis to try very, very hard and make a move, and potentially, if something goes wrong, he's going to be there to pick up the pieces. Now, whilst all that is going on, the gap between Spengler in the lead and Tomczyk is beginning to come down. So it is Spengler, Tomczyk, then it's Jamie Green, then it's Gary Paffett, and then Oliver Jarvis in 5th place, and in 6th it is Timo Scheider. So back on board we go with Oliver Jarvis. So took a podium last time out in Spielberg, and will be keen to do exactly the same here at the Eurospeedway in Lausitz. But he really is being, the wheel tracks are being followed behind by Timo Scheider. Just look how close those cars get to the wall. Phenomenal stuff from these DTM racers. So it was an all Mercedes front row, but it's a Mercedes 1, an Audi 2 at the moment on track, and we're with that Audi. Another one of our fantastic onboard shots. And there the team, including Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, then taking some water to rehydrate as he keeps an eye on everything that's going on out there. And that battle is for 5th place between Jarvis and Timo Scheider. So Timo Scheider very much in the wheel tracks of Jarvis at the moment. So it's Spengler, Tomczyk, Green, Paffett, Jarvis, Scheider, Christensen, and Ekstrom occupying the top 8 positions. As we see a move there, and a very, very good move indeed from Molina. And right now, let's cross live to the pit lane and find out exactly what has happened with regards to Susie Stoddart.
And now I'm here with a very unlucky Susie Stoddart. I hear something with the brakes. The race ended for you before it even began.
Yeah, it's really hard to take, but these things happen in motorsport. Unfortunately, I drove to the grid, everything was fine, and the car started losing a lot of fluid from the front brakes, and my team tried to repair it, but there just wasn't enough time. But, you know, it's the first time it's happened to us. Normally, these guys do a terrific job, so just one of those things. It's really hard for me to now watch the race, but yeah, that's it.
Big shame. Thank you very much, Susie. Back to you, Dave.
Thank you very much, Verena. So now we know what has happened to Susie Stoddart then, and a braking problem which was very, very terminal, couldn't be repaired by the team, and therefore she is not out there and on track, which is a great, great shame. So bad luck to Susie Stoddart. Meantime then, it's back to the race, and Spengler, Tomczyk, Green, Paffett, Jarvis, and Timo Scheider, with Christensen in 7th place, and Molina is 8th. Great move from Molina just before we crossed into... some panel rubbing going on there. Well, that was a move, and a move that worked. So the pit stop window confirmation then from lap 13 through to lap 39. So, of course, in every DTM race, every driver has to come in for 2 mandatory pit stops to have all 4 tyres changed, as getting very, very sideways there. And let's get a replay here of that move. So the inside coming up the home straight. Now, it is a very, very tight left-hander, and David Coulthard knows that, but actually executed that perfectly. Brilliant, brilliant stuff as well, as Schumi follows as well. So then we return to the front pack. Spengler, Tomczyk, then it's Green, then it's Paffett, then it's Jarvis, Scheider, and then a gap before we see Christensen, then Molina in 8th place with Ekstrom 9th, then it's Albuquerque as 10th, Engel 11th, Vitoris 12th, with Coulthard, Schumacher, Van der Sande and Mortara, as we go on board with Tomczyk, trying very, very hard to get on terms with Spengler. As we see Eduardo Mortara losing out there. So the Playboy machine under some pressure from Vitoris. So first the attack by Engel, then Vitoris, and then you can see how Mortara getting sideways, a little tap into the side of that Audi, but managed to hold it all together, but had to concede. Right, back to the front we go. Spengler, Tomczyk, Green, Paffett, Jarvis. Then it's Timo Scheider, as the cars roar past us on the start-finish straight. So Tomczyk then keeping on terms with Spengler, but that's all it is. Certainly not anything like close enough to make a move. And the battle that was going on between Jarvis and Timo Scheider has quietened down. We go back on board with Tomczyk then, currently 2nd. And just the sound of this car being punished around this racetrack is music to a petrol head's ears. So there you can see the gap, and the pit stop window about to open. So Spengler, Tomczyk, Green, Paffett, Jarvis. Then it's Timo Scheider. Christensen doing a great job. And then in 8th place, Molina. Now, of course, the order will be changed when the pit stops start. But Bruno Spengler laying it down from the very start of this race. As we see first into the pits is Gary Paffett. Now just keep an eye on just how quick this team works. Absolutely phenomenal. 4.4 the pit stop for Gary Paffett. And there's Vitoris with a clock on Vitoris. 3.5, phenomenal. Now Gary Paffett just going into this race weekend, signing a multi-year deal with Mercedes, confirming his place with Mercedes. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 still out there. Spengler, Tomczyk maintaining the pressure. And Scheider maintaining the pressure on Jarvis as well. Really, really interesting battle there, and Tomczyk getting ever closer. So Spengler, Tomczyk then, the 1-2 on track, neither in, both staying out there. And Tomczyk now very, very close, takes a look up the inside, thinks better of it, into that extremely tight turn 1. So just under 3/10 the difference between these two. There's more activity into the pits. And whilst the activity in the pits continues, the battle remains fraught out there as we see Ekstrom with a 3.2. Oh, disaster for Ekstrom, who's released with the fuel tank still on board. Well, thankfully it fell off, and that has meant that he can get back out on track again, but not what was wanted. So let's see that all over again. Oh! And there, luckily, it fell off and it was retrieved before it could do any damage to anybody else. Right, back to the front then, and Bruno Spengler that is leading this race, and Spengler is in. So the team know that they have got it all to do. So in comes Bruno Spengler then, who was our race leader. In for the first of his mandatory pit stops. The clock is on 3.7. And Spengler is back out again. So now then the order is Tomczyk, Green, Jarvis and Timo Scheider. And where is Spengler? He's going to get out in front of Paffett, which was what was desired, and he has done that. So both Spengler and Paffett have been in. Lock up there for Gary Paffett. So that lock-up cost dear in terms of Spengler getting out of the pits in front of him. We're on board with new race leader then, Martin Tomczyk. Has had 2 podiums already this year in the Audi A4. Having taken a 3rd in Zandvoort and a 2nd in Spielberg. And now we go on board with Jamie Green in for the first of his mandatories. And we'll run the clock on Jamie Green, and the awesome silver wrap on the car makes it look really, really menacing. 3 3.3 seconds then for Jamie Green. Now, let's see where he can get out. Oh, so close. So close. So Paffett wins in that battle then. Jamie Green now will push very, very hard to try and get past Gary Paffett. So Green now on fresh rubber. So we're on lap 16 of the 52 race distance here at the Eurospeedway. And there we can see our race leader from our fantastic heli shots. And our leader comes in then. And again, we will run the clock on this. Tomczyk in. There is Spengler. So then the team ready for this. So Tomczyk in, let's run the clock. Brilliant one, 3.2 then, and Tomczyk is done. Now, where is he gonna get out on track? Absolutely brilliant. So well done, Tomczyk, out in front of Bruno Spengler, which all credit to the team for working so very hard there to do one of the quickest we've seen so far today and get him out in front of Bruno Spengler. And here we can see just what an oiled machine this team is and how they work. Absolute precision, and away he goes. Brilliant stuff from them. And that's where he rejoins, just in front of Bruno Spengler. Brilliant stuff from the team. So on track then, Jarvis, Timo Scheider, Christensen, Schumacher and Mortara still to take their pit stops. We're on lap 18 of 52 here at the Eurospeedway. As Paffett just takes a look at attacking Spengler. Nothing doing. And the sound of those cars. Absolutely brilliant. So the gap there, you can see 4/10 between Paffett and Green. So Paffett, the all-black machine, then the silver wrap, the menacing silver wrap of Green behind. Right, there is Tomczyk then in the yellow-green Audi. And yet again, the warmers come off as the team's ready for the first of the mandatory pit stops in this window. So Paffett. Then it's Green, Spengler, Paffett, Green. Now on track, that's the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th. So Tomczyk then in the Audi, currently there he is, on track 5th with Spengler 6th, Paffett 7th, Green 8th. Then Molliner in 9th place with Oliver Jarvis, Timo Scheider. And there is Scheider, and another great shot here as the gap between Jarvis and Scheider then 7/10. And the gap from Jarvis to Tomczyk then, 15.7. Now Jarvis, Timo Scheider, Christensen and Ralf Schumacher yet to take their pit stops. And as we speak, Christensen is in. Now, bearing in mind, Christensen starting from the fourth row of the grid, was actually seventh on the grid. He's in for Mike Rockenfeller and doing a good job. And so too the team with a 3.4 pit stop there for Christensen, who's back out already. Now, sadly, he's lost a position against Molina. Really so much part of the show, these mandatory pit stops, which can change the order. Strategy is so important, and a real test of just how well drivers and the teams are working together. There's Scheider then, who's not been in yet. Now seeing Scheider from the back of Jarvis's car, and it's Jarvis that's in. There indeed he is. So on lap 21, the red and white car is in. So Timo Scheider then temporarily occupies the lead out on track. And the team get to work on the Oliver Jarvis car. And a 3.7 time on that pit stop. And where does Jarvis get out? Off the back of Green's car, some of the dust off that curb. So the order on track now. Jarvis sits behind Jamie Green and Gary Paffett. So here then the battle, you can see Paffett in front. We're on board with Jamie Green. And just hear the sound of those curbs and rumble strips through the car. And that sound being transmitted through our camera to you as well. So there's Paffett, there's Green, and there is Jarvis. And Schumi in then for his pit stop. Now, Ralf Schumacher has been very, very... Oh, and what happened there was the car released just a little bit early. Seemed to be creeping forward a bit. So Schumacher this year then in DTM has had a couple of podiums. Third in Hockenheim, third in Spielberg. Has to be said, dreadful qualifying here though, which saw him at right in the back row and 17th on the grid. So Timo Scheider then, who's yet to take his pit stop, still out there effectively on track leading the way. And of course he has got the opportunity now to have very, very much a clear track. So making hay while the sun shines before we see Tomczyk come through. Then it's Spengler, and then it's Paffett, then it's Green. All of whom who have taken their mandatory pit stops as Jarvis takes a look around the outside of Green, thinks better of it. So Oliver Jarvis then in the Audi A4, hounding Jamie Green in the C-Class Mercedes. Just 2 tenths between them. And look how close these cars are to the wall. And Jarvis really almost into the boot now as he tries to find a way round. Cannot quite do it. But he is very much maintaining his pressure. Now, whilst all that is going on, Tomczyk is really enjoying that battle that they're having, because that's enabling him to pull out all the stops and put a real cushion between him and the chasing pack, the baying pack. So Oliver Jarvis, we were on board with there, maintaining the pressure on green, as still he does. The red and white Audi then, and the silver-wrapped Mercedes now up the home straight as Jamie makes the Mercedes very wide, and Jarvis tries to find a way. So Green then making that, sticking his elbows out and making that Mercedes as wide as he can. Oliver Jarvis maintaining the pressure, and here you can see how Oliver was trying every which way but loose, inside, outside. Jamie, though, wise, covering the gaps and making sure there was no way round for him. But the relentless pressure that Oliver Jarvis is keeping on Jamie Green. There's Bruno Spengler then. So 3/10 now between Green and Jarvis. As we go back on board with Oliver Jarvis. So last time out at a podium. And he really is as close can be to the back end of that car. So Scheider, Tomczyk, Spengler, Paffett. Then it's Green, then it's Jarvis, and once again Green having to defend as Jarvis takes a look around the outside. Now, if you can get right alongside going into that really, really tight left-hander, then it does mean that you're in the perfect place. Off of that left-hander, you're then in the right place for the right-hander that immediately follows. Wasn't able to do it on that occasion, so Oliver Jarvis we're sticking with on board. And again takes a look towards the outside of Jamie Green. Whilst all this is going on, Tomczyk then way out into the distance. So Green then with a 1:27.82. And the gaps there, you can see just how close it is. Not that you need that, because you can see it for yourself on screen. These cars almost welded together. So the Audis are readying, surely, for Scheider. And there is Tomczyk then, who has, this battle has raged, has been able to pull away, as once again Oliver Jarvis is just diving everywhere, trying to find a way past Jamie Green. Absolutely incredible defensive driving from Jamie Green under punishing pressure from Oliver Jarvis. And just look how close they are. And Christensen is being able to reel them both in. As Ekstrom in. So those that have done two, Molina, Albuquerque, Victorious, where are we? Ekstrom, Engel as well, and also Mortara. So just so enthralled by this battle at the moment between Jamie Green and Oliver Jarvis, as it is absolutely relentless. But just look at this. The huge gap that exists now between Tomczyk and Bruno Spengler. And once again, Oliver Jarvis then takes to the outside. Isn't going to be able to do it, not as close as he has been at times. But incredible driving from the pair of these. So Jamie Green in the silver-wrapped AMG Mercedes, Oliver Jarvis in the Audi. And then beginning to reel them in as well is Tom Christensen here this weekend. Sitting in for Mike Rockenfeller, who of course had a crash at Le Mans, and we wish Mike well, and he's at home recovering. So in every part of the wheel tracks of Jamie Green, there is Oliver Jarvis. So there, Scheider. And there, Tomczyk. And the gap between Tomczyk and Spengler then very nearly 6 seconds. So as we return to see just how those cars at the exit of the home straight bounce like anything. Bounce or no bounce, Oliver Jarvis is ready to pounce, but he's been ready for several laps and has yet to make a move that sticks on the hard defending Jamie Green. So it's the battle on track for 5th place. And there, Jarvis, keeping every bit of that Mercedes in focus, in target, ready to attack. So just looking there, and just a little bit concerned that Green's car looked a little bit loose at the back. Now, if that is the case, that's something that Jarvis will be able to take advantage of. So Jarvis then with a tactical move to try and do it by way of the second mandatory pit stop. Now this is where the team are really going to have to perform, because he could pull it off here. He has tried so hard, lap after lap after lap, the relentless pressure. Let's put the clock on him and see how he does here. And see how the team do. 3.1, stellar effort from the team then. And let's see where he gets out on track. So back behind Molina now. So Oliver Jarvis then rejoins in what is effectively 9th on track behind Miguel Molina, who's currently 8th. And Molina driving a supreme race. Meantime, at last, Timo Scheider is in. So Timo Scheider, who has been out there for some 30 laps of the 52-lap distance. I think those tyres are ragged raw. A 3.6 then for Scheider. So he has now jumped ahead of Green. And there's Paffett. And a supreme effort from the Mercedes team to get Paffett out in just 2.8 seconds. So the fight now between Molina and Jarvis, and Paffett gets out. He gets out in front of Molina, which is exactly what he wanted. And that, in no doubt, helped by the sterling effort of his pit crew. Brilliant stuff from Paffett and the team. And now Jarvis then up the inside. Now looking back from Jarvis's car then, up the inside of Molina. Good move, that one. One that I didn't see coming, truthfully. So there is Oliver Jarvis then. A really, really impressive drive so far from Oliver Jarvis as into the pits now for pit stop is Tom Christensen. Slow one, 4.6 for Christensen, who was fifth out on track. Back out he goes now. So Christensen then in for Mike Rockenfeller this weekend here at the Lausitz Ring. The focus on those teams as they get ready. Bruno Spengler then we return to, the man that has taken one of the two mandatory pit stops and is currently second out there on track. Supreme performance in qualifying put him on pole. And he's in. Now again, absolutely crucial for the team to work with Spengler here. So it will be crucial to see if he stays in front of Gary Paffett. So a 2.7 from the team there. And as we keep an eye on the screen here, we can see Paffett, we can see Jarvis, and we can see Spengler. Job done. So Spengler out as Paffett gets a little bit loose. Into the, out of the left-hander with Oliver Jarvis chasing. And there is Bruno Spengler. There's Paffett and Jarvis, and here's Tomczyk, who has taken one of the mandatory two pit stops. And it's Tomczyk that is leading out on track at the moment. Already having celebrated two podiums in the 2011 DTM. Would like to be adding another one here as well. Huge crowd here at the Eurospeedway enjoying a scintillating race from the DTM. 33 of the 52 laps done and dusted, and the weather has not played the part that we thought perhaps it would. So Martin Tomczyk then. So close to that wall as they dive back onto the road course here at the Eurospeedway. Two places on the track where they get so close to that wall. Incredible to watch. Jamie Green then in the silver-wrapped Mercedes. There's Oliver Jarvis and Gary Paffett. So 6th and 7th on track. And Oliver Jarvis really has been driving like a demon in this race. So the gap between them then just over 4 tenths. Jarvis constantly looking. Nothing like close enough to Paffett at the moment to make a charge. And behind, Molina going very, very wide there. And this will be such a decisive stop. Now, in theory, should be easy because there was a huge gap, but Tomczyk is in, a 4-second stop. Now, that should put Tomczyk out safely, I would have said. Indeed so. Back to this battle between Gary Paffett and Oliver Jarvis. And just hearing that there is a fine for Ekstrom for the fuel incident. It will have no effect on his standings in the race, but just perhaps hurt his pocket a little bit. Paffett getting wide there. Oliver Jarvis behind. This is the battle for, well, as we see Spengler go through, who's fourth on track. Then it's Paffett, then it's this man, Oliver Jarvis, and Jamie Green it is that's in now. Now, he was third on track. So Jamie Green in then, and the onboard there showing us exactly what's going on with Jamie Green. And a 3.7 stop for Jamie Green. Now, he's going to fall behind here. Out behind Miguel Molina. So there is Jamie Green then, who rejoins 7th. Now there is Mortara and retirement for the Playboy Audi. As Jarvis now, nothing like as close on Paffett as he once was. So 36 of the 52 laps in this race. There is Gary Paffett in the all-black Merc. Then it's the red and white Audi then of Oliver Jarvis and Paffett. And you look at the bumps on that straight. Had mentioned that earlier. Very, very bumpy on the wide outside there. You need to take a wide outside for the tight turn. So then on track, it's Scheider from Tomczyk, Spengler, then it's Paffett, Jarvis, Molina. And there we can see disappointment etched all over the face of Mortara. So Paffett, Jarvis, then it's Molina, and then Jamie Green in the silver-wrapped C-Class. And on board with more stunning images from the camera work bolted to these cars. So low down, giving us indication of the phenomenal speed. So the gap then between Green and Molina, some 7 tenths, nearly 8 tenths. So we're on board with Green, looking at the back end of Molina's A4. And there is Jamie Green then onto the home straight. And just look at those cars bump and bounce their way down the outside of that straight before it is the tight left-hander, then into a right here at the challenging Eurospeedway. So Jamie Green then from second on the grid. Best so far this year, taking a fourth in Zandvoort. And Oliver Jarvis and Gary Paffett there. Meantime, Tomczyk then. And the gap between Tomczyk and Spengler, wow. 9.1 seconds. Almost enough to write a small novel in that gap. And in then comes the on-track leader, Timo Scheider, for his second of the mandatory pit stops. So Scheider then into the team as the team go to work here. The clock goes back on. 3.1 seconds then for Scheider. And he rejoins on track. And in front of Spengler. So then, what a race this has been then for Scheider, when you consider that he was grid 9 and is now second. Absolutely amazing. The whole race has been full of drama, and the strategies being used to great effect in this race. So let's go on board. Oh. So Miguel Molina there, under some pressure from Jamie Green. So we can see the back end of that Audi there. As we get into the race order then, there's Tomczyk, there is Scheider, and just look at the gap. Then it's Spengler, then Paffett, Jarvis, Molina. So Jamie Green then in the silver wrap then, really hounding Molina, as Green himself has been hounded through parts of this race. Strategy not worked too well for him. So up the inside he looks. Through onto the rumble strips. So bearing in mind that if this, we've still got a great number of laps to come, but if the race order, look at the tension in the pit crew, if the race order were to stay the same, well, that would change the situation at the top of the points. The points going into this, Spengler was leading, then it was Tomczyk in second place. So Tomczyk, Scheider, Spengler, Paffett, then it's Jarvis, Molina, and there is Molina, and there is Green. The battle for 6th place at the moment. Green trying so very hard to get past Miguel Molina, using every single bit of the circuit and more besides. So close to the wall. So there is Tomczyk then, and Timo is beginning to get ever closer. There's 12 laps left to run in this phenomenal race from the DTM. The gap between Green and Molina then 4.5 tenths. Tomczyk, Scheider, Spengler, then it's Paffett, Jarvis, Molina and Green, and we're on board with Jamie Green. Hounding Miguel Molina. Molina a creditable 10th in the DTM last year. So Tomczyk, Scheider, Spengler, Paffett, Jarvis, and then Molina and Green, and Tom Christensen in the all-yellow machine behind Green. And Tom Christensen, we saw right at the start of the show, explain the reason he's back in DTM as a one-off appearance, in that we hope that Mike Rockenfeller will be well enough to return to his place in DTM following his crash at Le Mans. So then, as we just take a look at this soulless effort, if you like, out front, and that's where they get so close to the wall as they rejoin the tri-oval here at the Eurospeedway. heading up towards the start-finish. So got the clock on to see what the gap is between Tomczyk, and there it is, 6.1. And all smiles from Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, and so there should be all smiles as well, because the race really so far has come to him. As they continue to battle out there. Jamie Green now trying. Oh! And obviously a problem there for Molliner, as Green just goes past and everyone else goes past as well. So Molliner in the A4, as we look back at the Audi team. A problem there, very nearly a nudge there from Jamie Green, as Molliner had slowed so much, and we can see just how close Jamie Green was there as he got past Molliner. But Molliner with a problem that has caused his exit then, and he will be bitterly disappointed, because had been doing so very well and defending very hard from the onslaught of Jamie Green. As we see Tomczyk now start lap 43 of 52, and Scheider then with 6 seconds, the gap between him and Scheider. Then we go back to Spengler, who we see in shot now. Then it's the all-black Mercedes of Gary Paffett. Then it's Oliver Jarvis. Then it is now Jamie Green. Tom Christensen, brilliant performance from Tom Christensen. Hey, and looking good for Albuquerque in 8th as well at the moment, who we're tracking now. And there we can see the gap between Albuquerque and Vitoris. So Albuquerque it is then in the light blue Audi, and Vitoris then immediately behind. So this battle is the battle for the last point. And wow, look at that. Just indicative of what a lonely place it is out there on track for our leader. Absolutely nothing around him at all. Can spend all his time just completely and totally focused on the job in hand and the enthralled spectators. And there are thousands upon thousands of them here at the Eurospeedway, really enjoying the fair that the DTM is. A supreme show, and a supreme show of racecraft out there on track from these drivers. Been absolutely awesome. So Jamie Green then, who's currently 6th. Now bearing in mind that Jamie Green started from 2nd on the grid. And there we can see Molliner then getting out of the car, absolutely furious. And equally disappointed then, the head of the Audi team then, Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich. After Molliner had, well, was doing such a great job in defending. Meantime then, back to the battle for 8th then between Albuquerque and Vitoris. So Mortara was someone else that had to give up his race here at the Eurospeedway, and hopefully he's with Verena right now.
And I'm here with Eduardo Mortaro. That was a pretty interesting and pretty tough battle we saw there with Vitoris and Engel. What exactly happened that the race ended for you already?
Yeah, I mean, I had several contacts with Engel firstly, and then Vitoris. We will say only disappointed, and after the race in Spielberg, already contact with Engel, you know, it's starting to be a little bit painful for me, but but they will say it's probably racing. Then I will start the race too.
All right, thank you very much. And back to you, Dave.
Thank you very much. So, disappointed is the only word I'll say. I'd like to say more, and we got very much the impression that Mortara then, who indicates that he can do exactly the same, felt that suffered some contact from Engel. Well, it looks now like Tomczyk then, as we're on lap 46 of 52, has everything very much under control as we go back on board with Jamie Green, who's currently 6th. And now beginning to hound Oliver Jarvis. Reversal of earlier on in the race when it was Jarvis hounding Green. Jarvis actually using the strategy of pitting when he did to get the advantage over Green. So Green now taking the fight to him out on track. The battle for 5th place, and there the gap. So Jamie Green, we're on board with low down so we can see exactly what it's like. That's what it looks like from the back of Oliver Jarvis's car, as once again Green gets a little bit sideways, little bit of oversteer from that car. Absolutely, both of these pushing as hard as they possibly can. So once again we go back on board with Jamie Green and Oliver Jarvis in front of us. And there Jarvis. And there, Jamie Green. Now, bearing in mind, Jamie Green was starting from the front row of the grid. P2, he qualified in. He'll be trying to rescue as much as he can from this race. And, well, as we head towards the closing stages, Tomczyk out in front on his own. Timo Scheider 2nd, Spengler 3rd, Paffett 4th. Jarvis, we can see in front of us, is 5th. And Green, who we are on board with, is 6th. So taking a look then at the difference in the times on the laps, the gap between these two, Green really is working very, very hard. So on board there with Schumi. So Schumacher down there in 12th place. So Tomczyk, Timo Scheider, Bruno Spengler, Gary Paffett, and Oliver Jarvis and Jamie Green occupying the top 6 positions. So Ekstrom there is 11th, Schumacher 12th. As back on board we go with Schumi. Working that car, flame splitting Mercedes. Now Schumacher in 12th had a disastrous qualifying. We saw him right at the back alongside Raoul Frey. And going into this, well, so far this year, Schumi had been having a better time of it. Took a 3rd in Hockenheim and a 3rd in Spielberg as well, as we go with our race leader, and then back to this battle that rages between Jamie Green and Oliver Jarvis. It's the battle for 5th place. Now Jarvis from 6th on the grid, Green from 2nd on the grid, which tells its own story. With 3 laps left to run here at the Eurospeedway, it's Tomczyk from Scheider, from Spengler, then it's Paffett, Jarvis, who we're on board with, looking back at Jamie Green. Then it's Christensen and Albuquerque with Vittorius, Engel, Ekstrom and Schumacher through to 12th place. But on board with Jarvis then, looking back at Green. So at the moment, podiums then beckoning for Tomczyk, Scheider and Spengler. And what a reversal that will be if the race finishes in this order. From the Mercedes domination in qualifying. Well, we have 3 laps still to do. And 3 laps still to see if that remains the case. Though you have to say, both Tomczyk and Scheider with so much of a gap. Wow. And there we see disappointed Molina, who, despite the disappointment, finds time to give us a wave. There's Spengler, we just see going out of shot. Then Paffett, and then the gap between Jarvis and Green then. 6/10, so Jarvis managing to claw a little bit back. So back on board then we go with Oliver Jarvis and Jamie Green now. We can see in the Mercedes right behind. Now, bearing in mind with just 2 laps left to run, that the Drivers' Championship, the points position, going to be somewhat different come the end of this race. So 6/10 now between Jarvis and Green. There's Paffett, there is Jarvis, there is Green. And there, the domination of Lausitz by Tomczyk. Then we see Scheider. And then some way in the distance then. Into that tight turn 1 was Bruno Spengler. Then it's Paffett. Then it's Jarvis and Green. So then the championship points going to be very, very different, perhaps. As we're on to the last lap. And we go on board with Jamie Green as he so gives a tender loving kiss to that wall. In his pursuit of Oliver Jarvis, which I fear is done and dusted. And there, done and dusted for this man. What a phenomenal race for Martin Tomczyk then. In car number 14. Well, he took a 3rd in Zandvoort, a 2nd in Spielberg, and he'll be looking to take the top step of the podium here. And indeed he does, takes the checkered flag. And what a brilliant race from Tomczyk. 2nd then to Timo Scheider. There then our pole sitter Bruno Spengler, who gets on the podium but not on the step he would have liked. He's 3rd with Paffett. Then it's Jarvis. And then it is Green. So a wholly different finish to the race than that perhaps we expected, with the Mercedes lockout at the front of the grid to the Audi domination there between these two. Absolutely awesome stuff from DTM here at the Lausitz Ring. And Dr. Ulrich looking very, very happy indeed. He'll be delighted with that domination here at the Eurospeedway. Fella who, of course, not here this weekend. So absolute delight, and rightly so, because what a phenomenal race that was. So we can see the celebrations as we get confirmation then of the race. The 52-lap duration here at the Lausitz Ring. It's Martin Tomczyk then with Timo Scheider in second place. Third, Bruno Spengler. Fourth, Gary Paffett. Oliver Jarvis winning the battle for fifth place from Jamie Green in sixth. Tom Christensen, brilliant effort from him to get seventh. Felipe Albuquerque eighth. Christian Viatoris in ninth place with Mero Engel in 10th place. 11th goes to Matthias Ekstrom. 12th, Ralf Schumacher. David Coulthard 13th. Renger van der Zende 14th. Raul Frey 15th. And Molina and Mortara out, but classified 16-17. So there we have it, confirmation then.